Hello and welcome back to the series of how to turn your passion into profit, how to make money online to live the lifestyle and the life that you are deserving of. So in today's video, we are going to be speaking about how to actually select which social media platform you should be trying to grow on and how to grow your presence. Now, one of the biggest questions that I get from clients when I am starting to think about building a platform online for them is which platform should I actually focus on, because it is so difficult to grow on TikTok, to grow on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, I'm sure I've forgotten one. There are so many platforms out there and they all serve a slightly different purpose. And it really depends on what your niche is and what you are speaking about for which platform you should focus on. Now, let's start from the beginning. Having a social media presence is really important for building an online company. Now, there are, of course, people that can build online companies and businesses without having grown a social media platform, and that is totally, it can happen and that's luck. But for most people, you will need to grow a following. You will need to have people who follow you, who enjoy the work, who enjoy the content that you share online for free, and then who you will then solve a problem for them, and then they want to then go ahead and buy your product, or they want to go ahead and support you in whatever way it is that you are offering them. So first, you want to make sure you're building your brand. There is a reason why companies pay content creators like me 5 figures to make one reel or to make certain number of TikToks or YouTube videos, because we have that engagement. We have the social currency, which are the eyes on our content. And that is something that is really difficult for brands to grow. And it's a lot easier for content creators to grow because we're normal people, right? People want to follow other normal people. So brands would rather pay a content creator £5,000 to make a reel than they would to actually try to grow their own content, which is crazy, it's insane. But that gives you leverage. If you have a brand, if you have an online presence, you have that leverage where you can demand that amount. So there's 2 sides that you can come from this at. You can start as a online creator and try to get the attention of brands, or you can start as an online creator and build your own company, which in the long run is the more sustainable version and the much more viable kind of option. And what I'd recommend you go for is that route. But you can sustain yourself by taking brand collaborations and ads, which is what I do, by also helping other brands grow themselves. Now, let's speak about the different platforms and how they can benefit you and which one you should actually choose. So we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have YouTube and also YouTube Shorts, we have LinkedIn, and we have Twitter. I'm going to focus on those 5. Okay, let's start off with Instagram, as it is the most popular and it is the one that actually advertisers and sort of people that want to monetize kind of jump on the most. Now, Instagram is a great platform. It's a great all-round platform. So I would recommend anyone who's starting any kind of online company to definitely get on Instagram. It's still very relevant. There are still millions of people who are accessing and going on there every single day. There are different ways of making content on there. You've got carousels, which is with photos. You have reels, which is video content. You also have stories, you have live. You can monetize through subscriptions for sort of private content that you can have for certain groups of people. And I think this is a really great platform for like just an all-rounder. So if you're starting off and you're not sure, Instagram is the safe option. The second is TikTok. TikTok is a much newer platform. It hasn't been around for as long as Instagram, but it has gained an immense amount of popularity in the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic. And I would say that it's a platform that pays less in terms of the ads. So when I have a company that wants to pay me for an ad, they'll pay me a lot less for TikTok than they will for Instagram. But TikTok now can pay you, so you can actually get monetized on TikTok for making videos there. So there's kind of 2 ways that you can make this work for you. I would say TikTok is great if your audience are younger. So if your audience are sort of under 30, under 25, that would be the ideal place for you, because that is where they live. There's no point of targeting TikTok if you're looking to target an audience who are 40, 50 plus. So that's something to bear in mind. Now you go on to something like LinkedIn. This is a much more career focused, much more serious platform. So I wouldn't go there and do silly dances or silly videos. I only post videos there that align with my career goals. People will go on there to look at your achievements, to see if they want to hire you. So it wouldn't make sense to put things on there that don't align with that aspect. But if you're building your brand and you want to show off your achievements in terms of like speaking engagements that you have done, keynote speeches that you have done, milestones that you have made with your business, even if you're a student and you want to highlight the things that you have been up to, LinkedIn is a great place to act as a bit of a documentation platform where you're doing that, but a lot less, I think, for the fun stuff and entertainment. Then let's move on to YouTube. Now, YouTube, I have to say, is my personal favorite. And I mean, I am biased because I have been using YouTube for a very long time now. It pays well if you get a good number of views. You can get at least sort of £1,000 to £3,000 a month simply by getting around 10k views, a bit less than that per video. So it's pretty decent if you can think about people that have like 6-figure views. They're making a good amount on YouTube. Like, it's enough to sustain them alone without even considering the ads. You might not want to jump onto YouTube just yet. So my strategy would be start with the easy, start with the Instagram, start with the TikTok. You can then move on to YouTube when you decide that you want to make longer form content. Now, this won't be for everyone. If you're someone who's selling a product that's let's say, for example, a phone case. You're selling a phone case, like it's a really cool phone case. You don't need to be on YouTube for that. That's not a 10-minute video. That's a quick 30-second, 1-minute video that you can do on Instagram or TikTok that will gain really quick virality, but will die down. Okay, so that's sort of what Instagram and TikTok's about. But YouTube is more for gaining a community, building people who really want to follow you because of what it is that you're sharing. My whole business started from YouTube. I make the most money when I post something here on YouTube. When I talk about the templates, I make the most from YouTube, not Instagram and not TikTok. So that says something about community. It says something about the fact that long form content does really well here, but my short form content doesn't do as well because it isn't you can't squeeze writing an essay into a 1-minute video, right? So it's a bit more difficult in that sense. I'm not really being entertaining, so I can understand why it doesn't work as well on the short form content, but that's just something you need to think about a little bit more. Then last but not least, you have Twitter or X, and this is a platform where I think if you want to kind of build your community in a less visual way, so where you're just kind of speaking, you're making threads. I grew rapidly last year. I think, was it last year? I maybe grew by 50k just in a few months because I started sharing threads about ways to use AI tools. So if you jump on something and you're really, really niched and you just speak about that one thing, on Twitter, it does really well. No one knows that I'm a mother, I'm a wife. No one knows what I do on Twitter. I just post academic threads, and that's fine because I'm not trying to build a community or a brand or for people to know me on that platform, but I don't mind people knowing me on Instagram and TikTok. So it really depends on what, but I would say to choose 2 platforms and start with 2 and then you can grow. Now that you have selected the platform that you want to build, you want to now optimize your profile. And it's really important that your profile says exactly what it is that you do, what you're going to be offering the audience, and how they can contact you, and also what deliverables that you are possibly offering them if you are trying to sell something. But this will come at a later point. Let's now just think about building our brand. So you want a picture of something, you want to have an image that represents you. If you're showing your face, just a nice picture of you. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I've had the same picture for 5 years. It doesn't actually matter what your picture is, I don't think. But the content is more important when it comes to social media in general. The name, these things, they don't really matter. People nitpick and they say that you should have your title, you should have what you do, you should have this and that, but it doesn't really matter. I had all of those things before and I didn't grow as quickly as I grew when I focused on my content and on niching down. But I thought I would show you 2 examples of profiles that I really like. So the first one is Dr. Sheen. She is on Instagram and TikTok, but I'm going to focus on her Instagram. So when you look at her profile, it's very, very cohesive. You can see that she makes podcasts and shares snippets of that podcast on her platform. And looking at her bio, I just want to focus on her bio. So it says, helping women elevate through shared stories. That's so clear. She's helping other people, women specifically, elevate. I love that word. It's like bringing you up, empowering you through shared stories. So through the stories of other people. And this is the perfect way of articulating what it is that she does. Then it says that she's the first grad from Mauritius, from Oxford University and Cambridge University. So again, that's her USP. She is the first graduate from Mauritius of these 2 universities. Like, what an achievement. And these aren't any old university. This is Oxford and Cambridge. It's such an achievement. She's also the co-founder of Professional Network, and she's a TEDx speaker. These are really important credentials that when someone goes in your profile, they'll say, okay, first graduate from here, co-founder of this, TEDx speaker, amazing, great stuff, has a link to her podcast, and if you message her, you can go ahead and speak to her or, contact her, whatever. So think about what it is that you want others to know about you when they go on your profile. The second profile that I wanted to highlight is Rowan, and her profile name is I Am Rowan. She's from New York City, and again, you can see that her profile is really cohesive. I followed her for a while now, and I've seen how she's gone from being an employee at Meta, so Facebook, and you can see in her bio it says ex-Meta. So this is important because I wouldn't say ex something if it wasn't really relevant. The fact that she worked at Meta is significant because the style of kind of training, her skill set is all because of the fact that she worked at this really big corporation and company. So she's bringing that expertise to you and sharing that with you. She's traveled to 50 countries, and this is embedded, it's one of her content pillars, is travel, career and travel. She has resources on this other page as well that you can go and follow, and it says, this page also says, your first gen big sis here to open doors for you. So first generation, big sister vibes, here to give you opportunities. If you scroll down, you can see all the opportunities that she's sharing. Subscribe for weekly opportunities, and it's just everything's there, right? It's really clear. I know what it is that she will offer me if I follow her. And that is exactly what you want for someone who comes and follows you on your page. Now you can go an extra step, and I want to make this as simple as possible because every single thing that I speak about in the videos from video 1 to video 5 are things that you can do today. Like, you can set up your profile and gain following literally today. I want to make it as simple as possible. I think sometimes, I've listened and I've watched so many of these podcasts and I followed so many pages that it honestly gets really overwhelming because they give you so much information that is valuable, but I am just opening my page. I don't need to have branding and colors and layouts and schemes. Like, these things are not important right now. It's more important for you to grow your brand organically. So moving on to growing your following. The most important thing that you need to take away from this is you have to have a content plan and you have to be consistent. It doesn't matter if the content is not perfect, if it isn't just aesthetic, if it isn't clean, if it isn't trendy. That doesn't matter, that will come. I promise you, that will come. You have to be consistent with it, and you have to build a habit where you're posting regularly enough that you can make a reel in 5 minutes. I spoke to a client the other day and she was really struggling. She has a big company, was really struggling with her social media. And the first thing she said was, I have 2 employees who just do social media full time for the company. And it takes them 2 days to make a Instagram reel. I was like, 2 days? What? These are 2 full-time employees that make an Instagram reel in 2 days. And I was looking at the reels and they don't even get 50 views. Like, it's not like it's something profound, like requires like Adobe Premiere Pro editing. Like, it's just basic Canva and it takes them 2 days. You don't need to take that long, and it's because you don't know what you're doing that you get to the point where you're spending so long to make the content that it even puts you off making content. So having a content strategy and some sort of like planning and consistency means that you're not having to think about the content, you can just make that content. The easiest ways to get a content plan, again, is by using ChatGPT. I know, I'm bringing this back to AI. I didn't mean to, I promise. But it will make your life so much easier. So you just have to go to ChatGPT and you open up a new chat and you say, I am making content on Instagram about this niche. And this is where you input your niche. I'm making content about academia, education, and productivity. Okay. I want to post content 4 times a week. Can you give me a content plan for the month, right? And it will give you a full content plan with the blocks of what it is that you can include. You could even go as far as saying, can you give me a script for each of those bits of content? Can you give me a hook? Like, there's so many things that you can do using ChatGPT that gives you that automated content plan. But of course, there's nothing better than actually doing the market research and seeing what works. ChatGPT will only give you an AI version, right? Like, it's something to start from, and like, it's better than nothing. But the best way of doing this is by having a look online and looking at your competitors and seeing what is working for them. Look at what their top videos are. What are the videos that are getting the views for them? And try to not copy it, but use it as inspiration. If you want to copy it, that's also okay, but then tag them to show that, you know what, I'm taking inspo from you, but I'm also crediting you as well. But I would say avoid copying. You don't want to do that on social media. Just be yourself, be unique. Make something that is adjacent to what they've done, so the same kind of viewers will also come to you. And then just post. I'm not gonna say how many times a week, and I would just say regularly, at least once every other day, possibly every day if you can. Honestly, even once a week is enough if you're doing really good content that has good views. Once a week is enough, but then maybe post on stories so you're keeping your page alive and on the top of people's mind. There are some tips and some hacks that you can use for engagement strategies. One of them is to comment on other people's posts. So again, finding those people that are competitors to yours and replying and saying, oh wow, this is really cool. Like, just something genuine, you know, something that shows that you've listened, you've watched, and you enjoy their content. And through that, you'll find people who are following you because they're finding your comment on a really popular video. So that's one thing. The second thing is like using trending audio. So again, this comes down to research, looking at what kind of trends there are at the moment. Again, it doesn't have to be in your field. There's a lot of extrapolating. So at the moment, there's a really, I don't love it, but there's this trend that's very mindful, very demure. And there's people that don't even know what demure means. I can't believe people don't know what the word means. Like, where are you guys living? But anyway, this is a trend that I think is a bit cringe. But anyway, you can, if you're trying to grow your brand, it makes sense to hop on these things. So pick that video, pick that trending sound, and make it relevant to your content. Make it relevant to you, because right now, that's what people are listening to. That's what's in people's minds. So you picking that trending sound, applying it to your niche and making it relevant to you is a smart marketing tactic. When you're starting off, always reply to your DMs. I have to admit, I really struggle with this now, but I get 20, 30, 40 DMs a day. Like, it's almost impossible for me to reply to every single one of them unless I'm sat on my phone all day, which I don't want to be. But when you're first starting off and you're getting a few messages, it's really important for you to apply and engage with your community, engage with people that are following you and asking you questions, because they genuinely just want to know. So you should reply back to them, reply back with an honest answer. Sometimes actually these days, you might just get a voice note from me. Like, I'll see your message and I'll be like, you know what, I can't be typing. So I'm like, hey, yes, so this is how you do it and this is what you do. And there are so many of you that have got a voice note from me. I'm sorry if you don't like voice notes, but I just find it easier to voice note and get on with looking after the kids or whatever than sitting and texting on my phone. So that's something that you need to be mindful of as well. When you want to grow a community, you want to grow an audience, you have to give and also receive. There's also a really interesting new technique that has been kind of used quite popularly recently, and I've seen more and more people do it, and I've been doing it as well, and it works so well. This is using, well, one of the platforms that I use is called ManyChat, and I'll leave the link for it down below if you want to go and try it out. I think you can try it for like 2 weeks for free, but it's essentially an automating tool, so you can automate responses. So for example, I send a reel out, I post it, and I say, if you want me to send you the link to this full video, type learn, right? And everyone will type learn, and then I'll send them the video. Well, it automatically sends them the video. And this is so powerful. There are videos that normally would get like 10 comments, maybe 15 comments. And because I've used this technique, they get 500, 600, I think there's one that has 1,000 comments. Just because people are saying learn. And this kind of tricks the algorithm, because now the algorithm's saying, oh, loads of people are commenting on this thing and they're sharing this thing. So I need to push this further because it's something that people are spending lots of time on. So that's another technique that you can use when you're kind of growing, because then you can try to engage your audience and kind of force them to leave a comment almost. But having said all of this, I think that it's also very much a niche by niche thing. So something that works for academia, for education, won't work for someone who's doing makeup or beauty. And something that someone who's doing makeup or fashion would do wouldn't work for someone like me who's doing academic content. And so it is hard sometimes to follow trends, because some trends work for certain niches and they don't work for other niches. So it's sometimes a case of having to tailor your content a little bit and think about what's working in your field. And like I said, I can help you. So if you do want to work with me one-to-one, so I can look at your content, I can help you build your brand, then I'll leave the link down below so you can contact me and we can start working together on this. But I really think that it's so easy to grow online, but you need to have the right formula. And a lot of the time it takes time to get to that formula. But if you work with someone who actually knows how to do it, then you can get to the point where you don't have to do trial and error as much as you would if you started from scratch. Okay, so that is the end of the second video. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which social media platform you have been focusing on or that you want to focus on in the future when it comes to growing your brand. And also, what are your reservations? What is it that you have found challenging so far about finding your audience or even building an audience at all? What are the things that you find challenging? And I will help you answer the comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.